I am Melissa DiMartino. I'm 36 years old, and I have been sober for almost 5.5 years now. I am originally from Fairmont, West Virginia, and my childhood was great. My parents are wonderful. They are still married today, and I also have two younger sisters. Growing up, I didn't realize it at the time, but I did struggle a lot with anxiety. And as I got older, I was trying to find ways to help with the anxiety, I think. What I needed was God, but I was filling that hole with other things. So when I turned 16, I tried marijuana for the first time. When I tried that, I loved the way that it made me feel like I fit in more than the high the drug gave me. I still ended up graduating high school with honors and moved on to college. After I moved on to college, I was introduced to pain pills, and that was when I knew the true meaning of Sheol, the house of death. I did not realize how quickly you could get hooked on something until I tried those. And from then on, my life became a mess, and I kind of spiraled out of control. I ended up dropping out of college because I was failing all my classes, and basically my job became just being a drug addict. I continued on this path for a long time. I ended up trying heroin as well. From then on, I was a full-blown heroin addict. A few years later, I ended up finding out that I was pregnant, and during that time I was not ready to be a mother, but it didn't matter because it was happening anyway. Throughout my whole pregnancy, I used, and I'm very, very lucky that I ended up giving birth to a healthy daughter. Of course, I tried in the beginning. I tried to be there and do what a mother to do, but it was just, my life was a wreck, and I was still involved with the same people, places, and things. So it just continued to spiral out of control, all while having a child. Luckily, my parents helped me a lot, or who knows where we would be. This went on for 13 years. When my daughter was about 8 years old, I just woke up one day and my fingers were like hurting really bad, and they were like red. And so I ended up going to the doctor, and they had to amputate 3 of my fingers due to the way I chose to use the drugs. And you'd think that would have been my wake-up call, but it wasn't. I continued. I finally ended up hitting my rock bottom when I got arrested. I got arrested and went to jail. I kind of realized when I was in there that I definitely do need to get help. I had time to sober up for a few days, and I realized what I was doing to my life. And my dad told me that he would get me out if I agreed to go to rehab. And at the time, I didn't want to do that, but I said that I would. But as soon as he got me out, I, of course, took off again. And during that time, he told me that I was not allowed to see my daughter, I wasn't allowed to drive my car, and I also could not stay at their house. And at the time, I was very upset about that, but it was the biggest blessing because that's exactly what I needed. So when I got out, like I said, I left for 2 more weeks. And during those 2 weeks, it's like I knew in my mind that I was going to go, I just didn't know when. So one morning, it was June 11th of 2019, I got up and just decided I was done. I was done living that life. I was tired. So I walked to my parents' house, and that same day, I was in detox. Once I got to detox, I guess reality was setting in, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was really hopeless. When I got to the 28-day program, I took my Bible with me and I started reading it. I was raised in church, but I did not read my Bible, and it's amazing because God was still speaking to me even though I had just literally pretty much just picked it up and started reading it. He was still speaking to me. So I started realizing there that I was going to need much longer than 28 days. I was going to need a year. I was going to need to really dig in and change my life. Before I had left, my parents had been talking to me about Genesis Ministries, and at first I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to leave my home. But once I was in that 28-day program, I realized that it's what I need. And I started Genesis on August 29th of 2019. When I got there, I started realizing that the Bible is filled with people just like me, lost, broken, wretched sinners, and God used them all. So that gave me a lot of hope. I learned so much from just starting to read the Bible. We do parenting class, which I needed. We do Dave Ramsey, Financial Peace. You know, when you're in addiction, especially for such a long time, you don't know how to live. Genesis is so much more than just getting sober. It's truly learning how to live a life and be independent. I think I did 8 contracts with 8 different Bible studies, scripture memorization, and we did devotions every morning and in the evening. We also learned the value of going to church every week and just being able to be a part of a church family, which is so, so important. It changed my life, and it's changed so many people's lives. It just gives you a completely different outlook. And I also realized that when you surrender to God, He will do amazing things. We just have to let go. So I graduated from Genesis on August 29th of 2020. When I graduated, I got a job at Dayspring Family Medicine, and I also was working part-time as night staff at Genesis. And I think that was really important in my journey to give back. I got full custody of my daughter back in 2021. We have a house here in Eden. We also have a cat. In 2022, I got the opportunity to come back and work for Genesis full time. My heart is burdened for people in addiction, so just having the chance to help other people like me is amazing. I'm honored that God chose me to do it. And most recently, I got engaged and will be getting married in February. If you would have told me 5 years ago what my life would look like today, I really would have laughed at you and said, there's just no way. But it's possible. It's amazing what God will do if we just let go and give it to Him.